What you're talking about is my life. Check your source.
We are breaking down the biggest headlines in the Bravo sphere. Much to discuss about Jen Shah and the Real Housewives of Miami. Hey everyone, welcome back to another Shared News. We are winding down to the end of the year, but we still have some big Bravo updates to bring you today. Before we get into it, if you're new here, please be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell so you don't miss out on any Bravo updates. As always, I'm your host, Morgan Wright, joined today by Zachary Reality. Hey, Zach, how are you?
I'm good. I am just getting ready for the holidays, trying to do those last minute things around the house and get some gifts for the people I care about. So I'm just, getting in the holiday spirit, feeling very Christmassy, Hanukkah-y. I celebrate both holidays. So I got to light a menorah with some friends the other night. So all is well.
Amazing. Well, let's just jump right in. This could be, and I know this is going to be a harsh segue, but the last Christmas that Jen Shah is going to be spending with her family for quite some time, because she is definitely in the hot seat. She's getting ready to be sentenced very soon. I believe it's within the first week of January. It was pushed back. It was supposed to be December 15th, and then it got moved to January 6th. And she has requested a 3-year sentence after pleading guilty to conspiracy to commit wire fraud in July following a telemarketing scheme that allegedly targeted the elderly. Now, her plea deal sentencing range was between 11 and 14 years in prison under advisory guidelines. So to go from that plea deal to requesting a 3-year sentence seems a little bit jump. According to CNN, Jen Shah wrote a letter to the judge titled "How I Got Involved in the Situation." In the letter, she wrote, "The terrible business decisions I made and professional relationships I developed stemmed from some personal painful experiences that I was going through in my life." First and foremost, do you think this letter is going to do her any favors when it comes to her sentencing?
I don't know, because I think that this letter, it sounds like it was, her last ditch effort. It sounds like this was her just being completely honest and vulnerable, or at least we think, or at least more than in the past. Because remember, she was denying being guilty for a very long time before she pleaded guilty.
Yeah.
So I think this was kind of just her last ditch effort. 11 to 14 years seems like a really, really long time. And I just wouldn't wish that upon anybody, especially someone who wants to give, life a second chance and try and do the right thing. But I also feel at the same time that it's not like this was just a one-time thing. Like, Jen Shah was doing some shady business behavior for a very long time. So you do the crime, you got to do the time.
Yeah. And I mean, I think she's freaking out, because when you look at the Chrisleys, who are going through a very similar situation in what they at least have been charged with, conspiracy to commit wire fraud. And you have Todd get 12 years and Julie get 7 years. I feel like Jen Shah is kind of looking at that situation and saying, oh my gosh, I'm next. And this is going to be a similar fate. What can I do to sway the judge a little bit? She also addressed on Instagram this week why she did not attend the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City reunion. She initially said that she wasn't invited. Then she was invited, and she let Bravo know that she wasn't able to talk about any outstanding judicial order. We all know what she's talking about, and that Bravo didn't take too kindly to that. So Jen decided that she wasn't going to go. Do we believe that Jen decided not to go, or do we think that when she told Bravo, I can't talk about this, they rescinded the offer?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think that she definitely had the upper hand to kind of put out whatever statement she wanted. I do think that if she did go to the reunion, she would have to address it to some extent. And I just don't know what's the point of her putting her business out there anymore, especially with so much on the line. She's trying to get a shorter plea deal. Like, she doesn't need to be exposing her personal life, her legal life on a reality show. I think that's kind of what got her into the mess in the first place. So I think that it's probably best that she sits this one out. I think as a viewer, for entertainment purposes, we would want to see her there. I don't even know how Salt Lake is going to survive without her. They're bringing in all these new Angies. There's so many Angies. But I think it's best that she just kind of lays low right now and just spends time with her family and her lawyers and just sees how whatever she can do to make this situation less harmful. And that's what she needs to focus on, and not on a reality show and a reunion.
With Jen not going to the reunion, do we think it's going to be a flop? I mean, they already had a small cast with only 5
Mm.
full-time housewives. So now they have Heather, Meredith, Whitney, and Lisa, and that's it. Like you said, they do have Angie H and Angie K, but I heard that things were not good with Angie K after she had to pay $15,000 for Coach Shaw's birthday party. So I don't know if she's going to be there. How are you feeling about Salt Lake City overall? And do you think the reunion is going to flop?
I mean, I think a reunion's always fun. We love a good sit down. We love a tell all. I just think that maybe it should be 2 parts. I think sometimes when Bravo drags these reunions out, 3, sometimes 4 parts, it's playing out for a month. And then everyone's just like, oh my God. So there is definitely some animosity between Lisa and Meredith and Heather and Whitney, which need to be resolved. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that plays out. But I think we should just cap it at 2 parts. And I will also want to hear them all weigh in on Jen and give their honest opinions.
Yeah, it is interesting because, right before Jen changed her plea, Meredith Marks was
Mhm.
on Instagram saying, I believe you're innocent until proven guilty, really going to bat for Jen. And then within 24 hours, she pled guilty. You have Heather going on different podcasts saying, at the end of the day, Jen is still my friend. I need to be there for her. Do you expect any of them to kind of say, Jen pulled the wool over our eyes at the reunion, or do you think they're all still going to be Team Jen?
Probably a little bit of both. I think they have to hold her accountable, for sure. Like this is not a small crime. So I think that it's the right thing to do to hold her accountable and call her out. But I also think that if they do have a genuine relationship with her and they've gotten to know her over the past couple of years, she's not a bad person. She just did bad things. So I definitely think that they should support her in some aspect because no one else really is. And if her friends aren't going to support her, then, she's going to be very lonely and that's just not fair and that's sad.
Yeah. And you mentioned that it should only be a 2-part reunion. There are rumors flying around that there might be a third part that is just a sit down interview between Andy Cohen and Jen Shah. So, a man named Aiden shared on Twitter on December 18th, breaking. Jen Shah is reportedly set to film a 2-hour sit down interview with Andy Cohen after the outrage from fans on her reunion absence. It will air the week after the 3-part reunion concludes. Hopefully, that's not true. Now, back
Yeah.
in October, while attending BravoCon in New York City, Andy did say that he would like to talk to Jen on camera at some point and that he had a lot of questions for her. Do we think this is true? And who is Aiden?
I don't know who Aiden is. It's reminding me of that guy who started all the Beverly Hills drama that came out of nowhere.
Yes,
Do you remember that guy?
Patrick.
What was Oh my
Patrick.
God, Patrick. Part of me thinks that it might be in Jen's best interest to do a sit down with Andy by herself if she
Mhm.
wants to just kind of let it all be out there because she's about to go away for a really long time. And if she's not able to speak to her fans or just the general public, it might eat away at her. So if she just wants to clear everything off her chest and be completely honest, then I get why she would want to talk to Andy. And then maybe they can air it like the week she's going to jail or maybe the week after she already left so that there is no, contradictions or, problems with the court. I don't know. But I think that could be a vibe for her. But I also think it might be in her best interest to just kind of lay low and, write a tell all when she comes out of jail.
I'm trying to think of any one-on-one sit-down interview that Andy's ever done, and the only one that I can remember
Teresa?
is, well, yes, Teresa, but actually, I was thinking of, uh, Brooks, not Brooks Marks, Brooks Ayers from The Real Housewives of Orange County, who we all remember was with Vicky, and nobody knew if
Mm,
Brooks had cancer or not. So those are the ones that I remember, and I feel like sometimes I feel like Jen Shah thinks that she is the next Teresa Giudice when it comes to the situation at hand. I feel like they're just 2 very different issues. Obviously, Teresa went away for a year. She came back to the show. It I can't remember all the specifics of it, obviously, but her husband is the one who ended up getting deported.
yeah,
I don't think this is the same situation for Jen. Am
it's
I the only
not.
one reading the room like that? Or do you think that Jen
It's
thinks that
not.
she's going to be the next Teresa?
It's definitely different considering it was Joe's crimes that Teresa, just signed and went along with. And it seems like in this situation, it's Jen's doing and her business. And Coach Shaw, good for him. He's getting out of this scot free. You know, if you say similar things about Erica and Tom Girardi, Tom was the one who did the crimes. Erica was possibly the accomplice. So, you know, you assume when you're married to someone that you share a lot of bank information and legal stuff. So it's definitely a different situation. And, you know, it seems like Jen is just doing Jen. She's having fun, living her life, but also battling through everything. You know, it's crazy because you want to feel bad for her, but then you also want to be like, are you kidding me? Like, how dare you? Like, literally, how dare you
Yeah.
lie about this? How dare you screw over the elderly? You're a grown adult. You're smarter than this, you know? So I would like to hear from her at some point, but we also don't want it to come across as distasteful.
True. Very good point. Well, we're 3 weeks away from her sentencing, finding out how long she will be spending in prison. Let's shift gears to something a little bit lighter, although I don't really know if it is, because we're both in deep with the Real Housewives of Miami.
Mhm.
I have to say, Zach, right now, the Real Housewives of Miami, which is only available on Peacock, is my favorite Bravo show, Housewives show that is on right now.
Me too. I really like that it's on Peacock. I honestly think I should cancel my cable, Morgan. What do you think about this?
I
Like,
yeah.
I don't think I need it anymore.
The only thing that I thought I needed it for was The Bachelor, and I'm, like, kind of over it. So, I don't really know
Well,
if I need it anymore.
we watch The Bachelor with our shared news. They have a streaming link for us. You can watch it the next day on Hulu. I feel like the only thing I would need it for is like award shows that I would want to watch. Cause like I
Mm.
have Peacock, I have Netflix, I have all the streaming services. I even have my mom's like Optimum login. So I'm ready to cancel my cable. And just watch everything. But Miami, I like watching because I watch on my computer, I watch in my bed, and it's just like a comfort show for me. Like I just really enjoy the Miami lifestyle. I love Alexia and Larsa and Lisa. It's so fascinating, especially the drama with Lisa. And I actually do fast
Right.
forward though through Nicole's scenes and sometimes Julia's scenes, but definitely Nicole's.
Yeah, I feel like it's taken, both Nicole and Julia up until, like, episode 4 to really bring anything to the table, and Gertie too. I'm like, "Where is Gertie?" We see
I like
Marisol, who's
Gertie.
technically a friend of way more I know I like her too, but she's just not, like, featured a whole lot.
Hmm.
Let's talk about Lenny and Lisa because obviously that is the biggest it's all this is Lenny and Lisa's season. What did you think of the hot mic moment where Lenny admitted that he A had a girlfriend and B was thinking about leaving Lisa?
It's just so sad because it seems like he's had this power over Lisa for so long, especially because he's the breadwinner. He's making money. Like I didn't even
Mhm.
realize until like I started watching this season and like seeing everything like he is a very successful plastic surgeon. So Lisa has just kind of been the mom and the housewife. So I think he's had all this control over the marriage and the finances and the home that she's kind of been left powerless. And I think that's why he's been able to have this open relationship, I think, for a little bit and cheat on her because it didn't seem like she was completely surprised. It almost felt like she gave him all her power and all the control of her finances that she didn't have a choice but to stay with him, even if she was unhappy. And it really felt like from watching the show that she was the one putting in all the effort to stay with him and make it work. And he just dismisses her like she's nothing. I'm like, wow,
Mm.
you really hate her that much or you're just such a jerk and just want to go to the next young thing.
Yeah. And I mean, one scene that really struck, I think, a lot of viewers the wrong way is when they're all on the cast trip and Lisa's there and she's trying to call Lenny and she's like, the babysitter or the nanny, they can't come, you got to go. And he's like, well, I really wanted to play tennis. And she's like, be with your kids, go be with your kids, screw the tennis. I personally don't think that he was going to play tennis. I think he probably was going to meet his girlfriend. But I think if there is any positive takeaway for Lisa in this situation, is that 99.9% of people are on her side and are really coming for Lenny. I don't see anybody taking up for Lenny. I don't see anybody, saying that Lisa wasn't a good wife. I think the majority of people are team Lisa and they will be throughout the end of this season and into next. She's really coming out looking like I don't want to say the hero. The hero's the wrong word. He's looking like the
The
true villain.
victim.
And people are really, yeah, victim. People are really rallying behind her, I think.
Well, it's like not even about like public perception. I think just for her personally, like, she should look at this as a blessing. She is getting out of a marriage that was not healthy for her. Maybe she'll be able to start dating and find someone new. I know that she's actually living in the house. So he left the house, which is crazy because it seems like he bought the whole house. Like he must be so mad. It's like an $80 million house and she's living in it. So
Mhm.
I don't know if if he's trying to get her out of the house or if they're going to sell it. Either way, they have kids together, so I'm sure she'll get a decent divorce settlement and get monthly payments. And now she has her own career on TV again, so she can make, opportunities come out of that. So this could be a new beginning for Lisa. She loves her children. She can focus on that and, just try and get out of this divorce and move on and screw Lenny.
Screw Lenny. We'll leave it at that. Thank you again for watching our Bravo headlines. Feel free to leave any thought, opinion you have about Jen Shah. If you think she's getting that 3-year sentence or that 11-year sentence. Also, if you want to leave some thoughts on the Real Housewives of Miami, Lisa and Lenny, we love to hear your comments and opinions. Before you go, please ring the bell and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out on any Bravo updates. As always, I'm your host, Morgan Wright with Zachary Reality. Our handles are on the screen now if you want to come say hi to us on our social media pages. And we will see you when we see you. Zach, if I don't see you, have a Merry Christmas, my friend.
You too, Morgan. Talk to you guys later. Bye.
Bye, everyone.